Hey, and welcome back. I'm Josh, and this is VFX Tutors. I'm not going to do a big face intro because what am I going to say? We're still continuing with the same thing. There's not really much else to say but that. So in our previous one, we modelled this section of the trigger guard, or the trigger housing. And you notice that I've actually added these little dimples in. I was going to do in texture, but they were actually quite deep, so I've decided to model them in. So I've done them in the exact same way as I've done these bits here in the previous one. They are literally mapped out spheres, cut in half, and then finding their correct home with their edge loops. Cool, so with that bit done, we're going to move on to the next bit. So I think it may be this bit next, but I'm actually going to do this inside bit because it's quite simple and it should be fairly quick. And it will give us a bit more of a base to work off. So I am just going to create a cube. And where shall I start? So let's at least get it the correct depth, sorry. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this tutorial series. They're quite long, but hey, sometimes things take a long time. And at the end of it, you'll have a pretty cool asset. So what we'll do is let's block this section out. To be honest, we could block it out, or we could steal. Let's block it out because there are some slightly different complexities, and you probably could, but I don't think it matters too much because we'll just go through and do the same thing. Pretty much going to do the exact same things we did last time, blocking it out. Select the edge. Bevel it till it sort of fits. Might actually have to hide the scan for this because I want to make sure it matches. Let's go to our graphic top. Got that edge. Let's add another edge here. Can't even see it. It's not selecting it. That's very annoying. Add another cut in here. And like I said before, let's not worry about making actual edge loops and stuff for now, and making it correct. We just want this sort of outline. I can't. So hope you guys have been enjoying these tutorials. They're quite long, but could be also been a pretty long day, and I have no idea what to talk about. So I might just end up just modelling through this little section. Cool. So I think these are slightly different, so we're not going to get them absolutely perfect, so we're going to have to adjust it. Okay, cool. So we've got this kind of rough shape. Not that bit. And we can hide that. I'm probably going to guess that it probably goes up to somewhere like that. So what we can do is actually use this as well as a guide. Let's hide that. Of course, we've got a very basic shape. Let's hide that. So this sort of edge puffs out. Not so much that one. So I'm actually going to use my transform component tool here again. So that's shift and right click. And you can sort of see what it's doing. It's actually pushing it all equally along its normal. It's giving us that nice sort of curved edge. And we can go back and just fix this quite simply. Probably a slight bit on the bottom. So we're just getting this shape. Strangely, that does not look like that's in the center. That's probably going to change where we can use that to our advantage. Cool, so that's probably looking okay for the shape. There's nothing looking too crazy there. Let's just see, we've got this edge here, which we're not going to worry about. We're going to fix that later. Just don't worry about the topology of it. Yep. We're probably going to delete it anyway. Cool. So, I can't think. My brain's a bit frazzled today. So I'm actually going to make a cube. And I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did last time. Let's get that shape. So this is kind of doing a lot of the same techniques, using them different. Like it's a lot of the same techniques, but then using them in sort of very slightly different ways. Ooh. So I'm actually going to recreate that bevel. So I think that's pretty good. Cool. And I'm actually going to use a Boolean, and I know. So I'm going to delete all the history of these. The thing is, with using a Booleans, they're actually not too bad, but you have to clean them up. You can't do that and hope it works. But because we're going to be deleting all of this anyway, it doesn't particularly matter. All we want to make sure is that you've got a nice mesh working with this. So again, I'm going to select those inside edges, hold shift, right click and transform component. I'm just going to go to my orthograph, not that, whoops. Top. And probably can turn my X-ray on. It's quite clearly what the transform component does. It's sort of expanding it, but not doing it in the way you want it instead of scaling. I need to forget that. Cool. So I actually need to, I've done that to the edge, but I actually need to go back and do that in a bit. Excuse me, my throat is still pretty rough. And what we'll do, we'll just tidy this up to our actual top part. Add another edge loop in here, just to get that working nicely. And I probably could actually let's select all these, bring these ones back up to the center. Because that's actually going to be a bit on the inside. Cool, so let's just bring up our scan. And a little once over with it. Obviously there's going to be some sort of ropey parts with it, so it kind of all pushes out here, so let's make sure that we so we'll change my selection to component mode so it pushes it out on the, oops, that's also what I forgot to do is so because I've pulled these out, I've probably made a little bit of a mess. So now what we'll do is delete all this nasty stuff, basically. Don't want any of it. So yes. I'm just going to add a little bevel on these edges just because it's when you do it, it keeps it nice and clean. And obviously we don't see it in there, but let's have a look. Cool. So I think that's all right. Oh no, you don't see it, so I'm just going to move it up to there anyway. So let's not adjust that until we see what it's like smoothed as well. So, nope. Let's also do this edge. Going to add our supporting edges in here. Now, just so they don't, this probably doesn't matter so much for those bits, but may have caused a bit of a problem here, but we'll figure that out later. So basically the supporting edges help. See how this stretches quite a long way and it keeps our edges a little bit cleaner and tighter. Cool, so just like that. Just Control E. I'm just gonna extrude it all in. Small amount first. As you can see, what we'll have here is, ooh, not that. We can do a small local translate. Hopefully, that'll make it a bit easier. But this stuff is still quite close together. But first thing I do like to do is just sort these edges out. Ooh. I'm just going to delete my history as well because I've clearly got some strange stuff. Maybe it's just going to actually flatten the edge just to make sure it's 100% flat. Because when I extruded this out, it came at a bit of a strange angle. I'm just going to target weld. Cool. Hope you guys have been enjoying this. I know not everyone's necessarily into hard surface modeling, but if I'm really honest these days, like to get anywhere, you kind of have to be quite thrifty in all the sort of departments. So it's a good thing to sort of learn. Let's just do this one down here. I swear I added one here, but oh well. What are we on? 25 minutes. I am trying to make these as quick as possible, but without fast forwarding. I don't really like fast forwarding stuff. So you've got quite a lot of stuff here. See, I could do that. It's kind of borderline for what I like to stretch the geometry, but it probably should be fine. Probably just worrying too much. And it does kind of fit nicely. Probably didn't need that as a pointing edge, but anyway. Yeah, unless there's probably like a lot of ways you can do this, but excuse me. This is the way I'm doing it. Just gotta be careful that I don't make it too straight. Although we're not really gonna see this bit. It might not matter. I think that is probably a good way to go about it. And also that we're probably so we're not going to see it, so let's delete that. We'll worry about that problem later. So I'm pretty much doing exactly, I'm not doing anything different than I did before. I'm just finding homes for all these edges. Whenever I've got like a sharp edge, I'll always add a edge loop, just so whenever there's like a sharp edge, there's always a good loop going on onto it then. Whatever happens in between, happens in between. Hmm, 32 minutes. And look, see, you can fast forward through this. I got a bit of a gross throat, so I'm probably not going to talk too much anyway. I probably should learn hotkeys, right? Oh well. I've never bothered learning the hotkeys. Probably a bad choice. Two edges there. I know that we can reduce this probably, but we're already doing too much for something that we're not going to see anyway, so. Let's see what mess we've created now. Definitely something that we need to fix. Probably should have. Fixes that, but doesn't fix that. Well, I'm pretty sure that's going to go there no matter what. You know what? Let's just see where this edge loop takes us if we had one. Not a big deal. We probably needed one in there anyway. But we do need to make it a little less sudden so it doesn't pinch. Cool, so we haven't finished. Just realised I've got the whole other side to do yet. Prematurely excited for finishing it. So probably you could you probably could get away with not actually doing this, but if you were planning to do like a complete, like if you knew it was going to be a model that's not going to be broken apart, you're not going to see insides, all this stuff here doesn't matter. It's just stuff which is going to be hidden by other stuff. But if you're doing like a breakaway showing the innards and stuff like that, you would need to do it. Sorry, dog's barking. So probably can. Bring this one in. Let's delete that one. Delete that one. We're just going to create a edge loop. And that's now helped us reduce the amount of points we have there. From 1, 2, 3, 4, number of edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 edges to 1, 2, 3, 4. Halved it basically. Which just means we have to find less homes for less edges. So we've got 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes the target world doesn't quite get it, but you can just merge the center. So we've got those homes for that one. And we don't need to add any more because we can just add. So just for the sake of not adding like a messy amount of edge loops on top of each other, we can just, because we're not going to see it. I'm not hugely bothered about stuff that we're not going to see. Obviously it still needs to be correct, but just not. What did I do there? Or maybe not. Oops, that was completely wrong. Ignore that. He's right. We can do some tidy up on this, I guess, if you really want. Like I say, we're not going to see it, so. Quite a lot of edge loops there, but the reality is it doesn't particularly matter. It's all correct. We're not getting any kinks or bumps. Let's bring back our trigger housing, check how that's going on with it. I'm just going to select that entire top layer, just double check it's flat. V, I'm just going to snap it up so it is on top but not in the bevel. Cool. Then we've got some inside dipping here, so let's just extrude that. Oh, let's do the offset actually first. There's some complex stuff in there. Let's not worry too much about it. We can worry about that later. Because I actually think there's a bit missing here on these edges. Because we're not actually supposed to be lined up with that edge, we're actually supposed to be below it. Ooh, too much. Can't see anything. So we actually want to done something there. I don't know what I've done there, but because we're going to duplicate this onto the other side anyway, so when I say it doesn't matter, but it would be nice not to have. Cool, now we have those edges, which we should get with the trigger housing. Cool. It's all looking pretty good. And Do you know what? Probably the easiest thing to do is just duplicate it. Select this edge loop and delete, and select that edge loop and select that edge loop. Now we just have that. Gonna center it. Hopefully that should actually center it to the flat. And now we need to do is mesh display reverse. We've obviously broke some stuff here, but let's just mesh combined. Let's target weld some of these bits that seem further away. Ooh. So it's going to be a bit tricky because it's so close but not quite, which is very annoying. I'm just going to, probably because I didn't do it uniformly, which is my fault. But it happens. Most important thing is that you fix it. So we've definitely got some. Let's try and get them. And I'm not too bothered because now I can just select all my edges. If we go mesh, merge. Threshold, I'm just going to bring it up by small amounts. Hopefully it should all close. Because if you do too much, it's just going to merge it. Oh. Well, the best way to check if anything's broken is just press smooth. And you'll be able to see if anything's gone like wacky. So one thing that we do need to sort out, I've just noticed. Ooh. This edge here is too sharp. So yeah, that my cat is scratching at the door again. Let's press 3. That's kind of nicely rounded that bit off. Cool, so we've pretty much done that part now. Let's unhide our that part. Well, no, we haven't actually. We've still got to figure out this part in here. So, well, now I remember why I said this was probably not a good idea. It's because we've added that right on the edge. Let's bring back our scan. It does go right up to the top. Cool, so probably it's going to be on a corner. Probably actually overthinking it quite a lot. I'm pretty sure that probably just goes which does cause us more problems doing it that way, because now we've got this gaping edge. Let's see if we can do this with a bevel. I'm not keen on that. Because when we do a bevel, it's going to give some really nasty stuff. Ideally, I don't want that. Let's see what happens if we have a supporting edge in there. This doesn't change the fact that we need to see. Our main problem is adding a crazy edge loop, which we are probably going to end up doing. Before I don't care if it's not quite finished. Oh, it's going to crash. Took its time to think. I don't know, it's not quite right. I'm just looking to seeing what it does. It's creating all quads there. You can see it sort of adds a ridge there now. I think we will, in fact, let's see what it does on the top. Let's add a... This is the most important thing, is to be able to see it, and see it's actually added a kink here. But I think we could probably actually live with that, so let's undo that. I'm going to save it, because it took a strangely long amount of time to do that. I don't know what's going on with my computer now. It seems to be going very slow. So let's just try one more way we could do this without actually so let's actually just go with let's oh god, why is things not selecting? Come on. So let's actually just go with the crazy bevel. Not super keen on it, but hoping that will. I'm hoping that won't cause too many issues. Definitely got something strange going on here. What is going on? Oh, I have stupidly pulled all those vertices square. So I guess that's a lesson. I say a lesson learned. It's not the first time I've done that. But you gotta be careful with the things you select them, guys. Or you could end up having weird stuff going on. Very easy to fix though. Now, what we have is all these horrible edges, which we could probably make disappear. Or we could just spread them out. So we're not going to see this bit. I've already spent way too much time on this. Do not know what's happened with this edge. I'm going to have to go, basically I'm going to have to go around and fix this. Got no kinks there. You've got this rigid edge here, which we are going to fix. Usually put them evenly away from each side, but actually don't want it to mess around with that curve. And my selection's been awful today. Seems all fine, it's just a lot of edges. Cool. I'm pretty happy with that. It seems pretty reasonable. Let's unhide that and have a look at this. You can kind of see what we're actually going to see. Not a huge amount, so it's all nicely matching up. So what we can do is just do one final. We could do a bevel, but I'm actually going to go with a supporting edge. Cool. So now we've done that part. That took absolutely ages. I don't know why. I have finished work about a couple of hours ago, so yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty tired, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. I know it's pretty simple, but it's just another section done. I'm not going to go on. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It really does help. Leave any comments in the comment section. Tell me how you can do these better in other software. I don't mind. I've just used Maya forever and I've never needed to change, so that's that. Oh, we forgot to do this. I went in the middle for good luck. Cool. Now we're done. Right, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.